Well, hey, folks. How you doing? This is Dog Life Radio, episode 29, coming at you, and I am your host, Rossi Giugio. Welcome. Welcome. All are welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have very special guest, Christmas Abbott. Had a conversation with her. We got the chance to talk about nutrition et al. And before I jump into that, we've got a couple of other things here for you. But first and foremost, thank you, Christmas. Had a great time talking with you. But as always, we'd like to kick things off here saying that we are powered by Death Wish Coffee. You can check them out at deathwishcoffee.com, the strongest coffee on the planet. 2 different blends, mild, still strong and potent, but more mild and smooth. The Valhalla Java or Odin Force blend, and then their flagship roast, which is a little bit darker, more bold, the Death Wish Coffee. They've got pods, they've got grounds, they've got pre-ground coffee for you, whatever your coffee needs may be. So check them out at deathwishcoffee.com. Love them. Proud sponsor of the show. So show them a little bit of love. Now, one more announcement before we go any further. We are now associated with 6 Squirrel Productions. Check them out at 6 Squirrel, singular, Productions on Facebook as well as the web. Great news there. Again, this has been a fantastic year so far for Dog Life Radio, so hopefully you guys can stay with us as we continue to grow. We are, it's all about Manifest Destiny here, folks.
Whoa, how did we get on this podcast?
I'm not sure, but I like it here.
It's pretty great, but we should probably tell everyone about our own podcast, Fueled by Deathcast.
Hell yeah. Comes out every Thursday from the Death Wish Coffee Company, the world's strongest coffee.
Every week you can hear me, the Incredible Jeff.
And me, the amazing D-Man.
And we talk about new science discoveries, breaking news from Death Wish Coffee, and we welcome a special guest from rock stars to astronauts and ask them all the question, what fuels you?
The podcast is available right on deathwishcoffee.com and wherever podcasts are found, including iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, and more.
Plus, you can now watch it live on the Death Wish Coffee Company page on Facebook and watch all our videos over on YouTube.
All right. Now you know all about Fueled by Deathcast and how you can listen to it.
But first, let's finish this podcast.
Let's get back to the show.
All right, and my 2 cents this week on the podcast to listen to, aside from this one, of course. No, last week I started off giving out a couple of recommendations on some fantastic shows. There's just so much content out there. I listen to a ton of different shows on a variety of topics. They do generally spin in the same sphere, meaning I don't really get too far away from health, fitness, sports, activity, whether it be entertainment or professional competitive sports. Do get into some of the crime shows as well. Some of those are really cool. But this week, my recommendation for you is to take a listen to the Brute podcast. That's BRUTE from March 12th. They tackle functional medicine and nutrition for longevity. Thought that one was really good. Worth your time. So just my 2 cents right there if you want to listen to it or not. All right. And now for the Christmas Abbott conversation. And just in case you don't know, and I have no idea why you would not, she is the most interesting person on the planet. It is not the old man from those beer commercials. It is Christmas Abbott. I encourage you, I highly implore you, I'm telling you, take a couple of minutes, look up some information on her. She is not only a fitness trainer, a CrossFit gym owner, CrossFit athlete, writer, reality TV show star. Yep, she was on Big Brother. She worked overseas in Iraq, which was a really interesting part of her past. Check it out on her website. Take a look at all the articles written all about her. And let's see. Oh, yeah. She was the very first female NASCAR pit crew member. That's pretty damn cool, isn't it? Oh, yeah, and one other thing. She is completely badass. And here it is, my conversation with Christmas. Enjoy.
All right, we are rolling. And wow, I am actually truly honored to have Christmas Abbott on the line with me today. Christmas, thank you so much for joining us here at Dog Life Radio.
Oh, thank you for having me.
This is something that, honestly, before, as we work through like the scheduling and everything, this is something that I was really trying to make happen. And again, this is so cool. I don't know where to start. You have such an incredibly interesting story. And the part that's even more mind-boggling is, there's so much more in front of you as well. It's just like the CrossFit, the fitness training, the writing, the books, the reality television, NASCAR. I mean, really, I don't know where to start.
Well, we can dive in to whatever you feel more excited about.
It's so cool. So because of your focus with badass lifestyles, let's start talking about supplements, because in my head, in the world of fitness, everybody's focused on the different types of exercises that you can do, and you can believe to different CrossFit beliefs, powerlifting, traditional body weight, bodybuilding style. But all of it kind of ties back to nutrition and supplements. So I want to start off with supplements and kind of get your take on it, because I kind of feel like you've got a little bit going on in that space also.
I do. So, it's funny because people that want to get into fitness, or whether it's, through competition or, their body composition changing, or just wanted to feel better or be fit, they have a slew of reasons for getting into fitness. And all of them are amazing, perfect reasons, right? And we look at our training program, and we either go to a gym, or we get an online training program, or we get a partner, whatever that may be. And then immediately they start turning to supplements, and I actually love supplements. I started my own supplement line in order to be able to control the quality of the ingredients of the supplements, and to be able to get exactly what I needed instead of just a whole bunch of extra stuff that I don't need. So I started Born Relentless, which is BOURN. So the concept is you are born relentless. And in order to be able to control that quality, and for education purposes, why do you need supplements? Some people just don't know where to start, and that's okay. Some people just get all of the supplements. You don't need all of them. It depends on what your goal is and where you are, and what you're missing in your nutrition and how your lifestyle is. That will determine what your supplements that you need are. And I think before you even dive into supplements, you should dive into your nutrition. We, when I say we, I just mean like our culture collectively. We just want the short fix. And I'm telling you that if you do a little bit of work on the front end, and you understand what food does to you hormonally, emotionally, physically, like they're all connected,
yes.
Okay?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
It is a drug. We actually literally get a hormonal response from food. So if we can't look at this and say it's a drug, then we're fooling ourselves. Now I understand like eating well for performance or your goal, and then there's eating things that you love, and there is an overlap. If you are armed with the education, you can make enlightened and educated choices and still work towards your goal, but not be miserable. So before even, I love talking about Born, but I want to talk about CAN, which is Christmas Abbott Nutrition. And what it does is it's an education nutrition tracking program. So we send you a lesson plan every week, and it's like super fundamental stuff. So you're not like, oh my gosh, what are these crazy words? This is awful. I failed in science in high school. Because I'm not that nerdy either. I'm glad. Yeah, no, keep going. This is where it's funny, because as you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense, because your supplement is generally the supplemental stuff you take after you're eating, and the base of it is everything you're eating. It makes perfect sense, because you're supposed to get as much as possible, and we know it's not perfect. You get as much as possible from that diet and nutrition. So yeah, keep going on CAN, Christmas Abbott Nutrition. It just excites me, because I want people, there's a whole bunch of different diet plans out there. And people are like, well, I'm doing it for X amount of time. And I think that there should be a beginning and end for sanity reasons. But it also should be what you should be able to implement as a lifestyle change, not a temporary fix. Because the temporary fix is going to go away, and then you're going to retreat back into your old habits and your old body composition. So what I've done with CAN is every week you get a very simple, straightforward, fundamental lesson, and you get a challenge, and you implement that challenge into your week. And it's beautiful. We have a food snap, so you can actually just take a picture of your food, and it logs what it is.
So I was going to ask you about that. I heard about that technology. I was like, you've got to be kidding me, because everybody has seen this stuff where you load your food into the apps, and that's cool. And then there's ones where you can scan a barcode, and then you're like, well, wait a minute, what food has a barcode on it? But that's a different topic. But
not the food you should be eating.
Yeah. So you take a picture. I have a plate of food in front of me, and you take a picture of it.
Yes, you take a picture, and what it does, even if you have we tested this all sorts of different kinds of ways, and even if it's a slew of food mixed together, it's like facial recognition. So the more you use it, the smarter it gets. So it'll actually list all the ingredients in that bowl, and you can plus to your food plate on CAN and adjust the serving size. So like half a serving, one serving, if it's not on there, you can do a food search real fast. But the more you use it, the smarter it gets, and the more it'll recognize the foods that you have. And it lists all of it. It is quite incredible. Much smarter than me.
That's incredible. That is absolutely, that's freaking amazing. Does it, if I have, say, chicken, broccoli, and on a plate, take a picture, it's going to recognize this is chicken, this is broccoli. Does it recognize portion size, or it would say that's chicken, a normal serving size is X amount of ounces, how much do you have?
So it will recognize everything, and what you've done is you've isolated the chicken and you've isolated the broccoli. But it will even, if you have corned beef hash, it will recognize all the ingredients in there too. And it lists every ingredient individually, so you can add all the ones that are there and then leave the ones that are not. It does not recognize serving sizes yet, but that's one of the lesson plans, is that we educate you using your palm what an average serving size is for vegetables, fruit, protein, breads, peanut butters, and it's a real easy reference. And we have quick references, so you can, if you're not sure and you're out eating with your friends, you can just pull it up real fast in the app alone.
That's so cool. That is so cool. I remember literally, I think when I was first starting the emailing, I saw this on your website, ChristmasAbbott.com, and I was like, what? There's actually an app that does this. So is this an app that you when you sign up through CAN, you get access to this app and you can download it onto whatever phone you got?
Yes. So we are iPhone and Android compatible and approved through Apple. So we do have you sign up on the web. It is a web-based app, but it's a web-based program, but it's app-friendly, so you can do everything on the app once you sign up through the web base. And what I love too is that it gives you a grade. So, for example, if you sign up and you're like, "Hey, man, Christmas, I'm not going to be 100%." We don't recommend 100%. That is just unrealistic. We're talking about real life nutrition people, okay? Not like Olympian athletes. This is stuff that you can do every day and not deprive yourself. And
that's it. It gets to that sustainability thing you were saying. Yeah.
And make choices, knowing on your lifestyle and knowing what you're able to do. So, for example, you're like, "Hey, in 2 months I want to lose 50 pounds." I'm like, okay, if you give 60% effort, meaning 60% accuracy with your food nutrition, then you'll get to that goal. But so, for example, we have a moving goal and we have a percentage grade. So every week you get an accuracy. And if you were, on week 3, you gave me 70% instead of 60%, it's going to move that real-time goal up. And so it's just it's real accountability, real motivation. And you also get feedback from a coach every single week. So we're there for you emotionally and mentally through this process to really educate you.
That's so cool. Now, through the CAN nutrition that you've got set up, in terms of philosophies or approaches, my assumption is the tool can accept a vegetarian, a vegan diet, a paleo diet. But where are you at? Where's your heads at in terms of those types of approaches?
What I want to do is I want to teach people what, one, macronutrients are and how they affect your body. So whether it's a lifestyle, a moral reason or a dietary reason, I want you to know why you're choosing to be either vegan, vegetarian, or paleo or keto. So with this concept, what we're teaching is the science behind it, but in a very, very basic way. And then with that information, you can go forward and make more educated decisions about what you're consuming and how it's going to affect your body, your health, well-being collectively. So what we can do is once you go through the foundation, you can actually choose different. We haven't implemented this yet, but eventually we'll implement different dietary plans that you can choose that you want to, but we will highly recommend maybe, I'm not sure what kind of red tape we'll put around this yet, but we highly recommend that you go through the fundamentals first, and the fundamentals is dependent on the package that you purchase.
That's amazing. It's so cool. So a little sneak peek here. It's funny because it ties back to so the food is the fuel for your body, but you have to have that recognition of the mind and the stomach. So kind of where I'm headed is you need to know what the food is doing to your body, and you need to kind of feel it, as opposed to it's great. I was vegetarian for a couple of years, and it was more moral than anything else. And it took me a while to feel that. Me personally, I wasn't feeling as strong and as energetic, and maybe I got a little bit lazy in my food preparation, and I could have adjusted my vegetarian diet to meet it, but I made a different choice, and I kind of went down the path of adding other proteins and more meats into my diet, and I could feel it. So that's that mind and stomach connection where I feel like the more education you can do, the better decisions that you can make, which will have those larger outcomes down the road.
Exactly. And, regardless of your age, everybody has metabolism, right?
Yep.
And depending on how you have ate all of your life and periodizations of your eating habits, that trains your metabolism. And I think that people just think that they're stuck with either a slow metabolism or a fast metabolism. Well, I'm here to tell you that we all have a metabolism, but it can be trained to be sped up, or it can be trained to be slowed down. And with this, we teach you, and you can have like a super high metabolism and not have that much calories, or you can have a really slow metabolism and not have that many calories. So it depends on what you've done. And a lot of people will go on these yo-yo diets, what I was telling you before, where they weren't really nourishing themselves or doing something that was sustainable for a lifetime, and they have blown their metabolism function out of the water, and it takes a little bit long. It takes a bit longer for it to be reset. But we also want people to know that that's not impossible to do, and we want to give you the tools and understanding of how to do that for you and your life.
That's cool because it's funny. I'm at a point in my life where I'm in my early 40s, maybe my early mid 40s, however you want to categorize it. And I think early 40s. I'm continuously learning things, and I try to pass these things along to my kids. And I look back and I think, man, if I knew now about nutrition alone, just nutrition, forget about the different approaches to exercise and functional movements and whatnot. Just nutrition back in my early 20s or my late teens when I was kind of exiting high school and moving into like wherever I was headed at that time. I can't imagine it because you continue that learning from that point moving forward. So to your point, you teach them this stuff now, and they're going to take it with them for the rest of their life, and they can apply it no matter what happens in their life because it's going to change down the road.
Yeah, and you need to be prepared for it. And what's beautiful is that this is really simple, straightforward eating. And I will tell you, people are like, oh, Christmas, she knows what to eat because she's an athlete, and oh my gosh, she's always been fit. That is not true. I had to educate myself, and I used myself as a guinea pig. I ate things that made my soul feel good, and I ate things that made my body feel good, and they were vastly different.
Yes. Oh, man. Isn't it? It's always like... Yeah, you think about it, and you're eating, and when you're eating it, you're like going, oh, my God, this is the best bowl of ice cream or, chocolate brownie cake ever. And then, like an hour to 2 hours later, you're like thinking, maybe that bowl of pasta wasn't a good idea for breakfast. It's so funny how you can feel that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, I don't have the 2 hour later. Mine's immediate now. But, there's nothing wrong with having some of that good food that that feeds your soul, integrated with that good food that feeds your body. So, I'm not saying that it has to be perfect, because whatever it is that you do, if it is not something that you enjoy, you will not sustain it. So let's find something that works for you, and then we'll just slowly layer in these other successes through food and challenge you for other things. So you have to give yourself an opportunity first.
And, I was just going to ask you about that integration into it, where you're thinking, the average person, maybe I have a very unhealthy diet and I aspire to be healthier, more active, lose some weight, tone, whatever, that type of a thing. Instead of flipping the switch to this extreme, I'm only going to eat meat and vegetables type of a diet, you mentioned you're slowly adding in more things, so it's more sustainable over the long haul. And are you seeing that that's also paying off with the successes of your clients?
Yeah, the thing about one thing that my clients are amazing, and I call them my team, right, is that they're signing up for this because they want a change. And you have to have that self-accountability. And I recommend to everybody, get a partner, get somebody else on this program with you. So you have somebody that is experiencing this roller coaster with you. And I'm not saying that you're going to be in the corner crying because you only get to eat 3 peas. That's not what this is about. Yep. But it is about, we are, as people, we're like tribal people. We're pack people. And we like to have shared experiences. It's very rare that we want to go do something by ourselves and not share it with anybody else. Hello, Instagram. I mean, we're obsessed with sharing everything.
Oh, totally agree.
So find a group of people that are going to support you and not be a negative freaking Nelly, and that you can have a real cheat meal with and do that guilt free, and that you can have accountability with, and you'd be surprised at how much more successful you'll be, and share the experiences of meal prepping, or what delivery meals worked best for you. You have to have some sort of accountability set up for yourself, which is what we do. We have a coach on the other end looking and reviewing your performance and giving you that emotional feedback and that technical support. But it's not the same as in having, 2 or 3 best friends on this journey together.
Yeah, you hit on something that I think is I don't know if it's like that whole, I'm a lone wolf, I'm a all by myself kind of a guy or gal. It takes a village, and it is so important to surround yourself with positivity and people that are like-minded. And if I'm in this space where I want to get healthy and everybody around me is smoking cigarettes and eating donuts, not that I'm knocking donuts because, wow, but I mean, I want to have people around me that are going to be like-minded with similar goals, and it's easier to move in a pack. And I find it with nutrition. I find it with, education. If you want to learn about different things, that's why, I guess when you're going through college and so forth, if you're finding really good study buddies, it's easier to progress.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, too, is that a lot of people will delay getting started because they're fear of embarrassment or, quote-unquote, failure. Failure is such bullshit. Oh, man, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but, man, it
Yes,
is.
you are. Yes, you are.
I'm telling you, no person got started and was an expert day one. And you will fail. You will mess up, and you will probably mess up a lot in the beginning, and that is okay. What is not okay is giving up on yourself and quitting the program or quitting whatever you're doing. So brush yourself off. Know that you get to get back on the horse right afterwards and keep moving forward, because every step will take you further. You'll occasionally stumble, and that is okay. So, people are embarrassed to get started, or they're embarrassed to ask for help. I'm telling you, you're only prolonging your misery. You have to either reach out or get started by yourself and then implement a friend. Whatever you need to start or that works for you is what you need to get started on right now.
It's a great point. It's like when you're thinking about going into a gym and you're embarrassed about it, because I don't want to go in there and see all these, these models walking around in super tight clothing, or guys working out with their shirts off and washboard abs, and I'm ashamed. Reality is generally, at least in my neck of the woods, the gyms aren't like that, and it takes a long time to get there, but you think you've never gone to a gym, never worked out, and then afterwards said, man, I wish I didn't spend that half hour or hour or whatever the time frame was doing that. It's funny because you take that step, and once it's behind you, you're like, yeah, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it's honestly like exercise gives you endorphins. It is the same as doing drugs, except for way healthier for you.
Absolutely. Okay. I think Schwarzenegger had a really interesting quote about that too. It's not a family-friendly podcast here, but I don't know if I want to go there. You can Google Schwarzenegger's quotes on his emotional feelings when he was working out. He said it gave him a certain feeling all the time. That's why he worked out all the time.
It does, and I'll tell you what, if you're married or you have a significant other or anything else like that, it gives them the benefit too.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the prime motivators, I think. It's, you want to feel good about yourself. You want to be healthy. And, part of that is your self-esteem. And what does that relate to? Well, maybe you want people to find you attractive. Maybe you want other things. That's part of that self-esteem piece that I don't think is a negative. I don't think it's bad to want that. I think it's great to maybe not focus on, being so, egotistical about it, but I think it's good to feel good about yourself. And the definition of what good is different from person to person, whether it's heavily muscled and chiseled or, maybe just able to go and do a Spartan race or a rugged maniac or some type of obstacle coursing, or just, go out and play a full game of soccer with your kids.
And I agree with you 100%. And I remember, it took me about 3 years of doing CrossFit before I could actually do an entire workout and run, 400 meters in the workout without having to stop. And I was in my 20s. Okay, so that made me feel, I remember that day, by the way. I remember that day, and I felt so proud of myself that I finally it was about almost 4 years that I finally got to a place where I didn't have to walk. And, that is immeasurable. And it's like everybody's definition of success. My definition of success is vastly different than it was 5 years ago. And it's not because I hit all the wickets. It's because my life has changed. And I have different values and things that I want in abundance in my life now. And I think that feeling good in your own skin is something that every person in the world should strive for, because we only get one. We get one in this lifetime, and you can go to the doctor, you can get cut up and stretched and lasered and all the things, but you still need to feel comfortable in your skin and do whatever it takes ruthlessly to get there.
Absolutely. I want to be
passionate.
No, that's great. But I think that, and the one thing I'll say before we start to wrap things up, because I want to be, I'm keeping an eye on the clock and cautious of your time here. But the one other thing is that comfortable in your own skin is not saying the one size fits all. It's saying, I know, so, some people find like the guys who go and do the Mr. Olympia bodybuilders, those super heavily muscled people, ridiculously offensive. And, there's a populace out there that find that the most beautiful body there is in the world. And the same thing could be said for women, too, whether muscles or not muscles or how they look, short hair, whatever, long hair. Feeling comfortable in your own skin is so fantastic, and it's going to be different for each person. And then acknowledging that if I'm not comfortable now, that's okay. Understanding what it's going to take to get there and recognizing it's not going to be, okay, I'm going to go do a CrossFit workout and then I'm going to have washboard abs. It's going to be a journey.
But even then, who cares if you have washboard abs? What I care about is being able to run around with my grandchildren at 85, 90 years old and keeping up. That's what my life goal is. That's why I get up and go to the gym every day, and that's why I eat well, because those things, not just two things, there's, sleep, hydration, fitness, nutrition, and family, your community. That will affect your life expand greatly. That's what my goal is, And if my body's changing now with pregnancy, and I'm like, okay, I might only do this once in my lifetime. Let me lean into it.
I wasn't going to go there, but, since you brought it up, that is a huge change. Congratulations so much. Having kids I've got 2 of my own. It's fantastic. And you just hit on the biggest change right there. It's like before kids and maybe when you're in your 20s, like, I'm not saying it's a vanity thing, but you're doing it, and maybe the washboard abs type of approach might be more important. But after the kids, it's like I'm in that space now where I want to be functional. I want to go play sports with them. I want to chase them. I want to wrestle them. And then as they get a little older, I want to be able to defend myself because I'm going to, I'm sure they'll get bigger than me sooner or later.
Yeah, and I mean, how wonderful is that, to be able to play with your children at any time without limitations, And I mean, like, I want to play with my grandchildren, and I want to be the fun grandma or me.
Yeah.
I mean, it does change, and that's okay. You don't have to have the same goals throughout your entire life, but you will have the same body. So think about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to say thanks so much, Christmas, for taking the time to join us here. Before we go, do you want to, let's hit, you were talking about your Born Relentless line, the can, let's hit all of it real quick before we let you go.
Yeah, so Born Relentless is BOURN relentless.com. It's amazing. We're coming out with a New Zealand whey protein this month. It's delicious. And then Can Nutrition, it's canutrition.co, because the canutrition.com was California's website, and they won't give it to us.
Okay. Pick and choose the battles.
And, if you go, and we're doing some really great promotions right now, but it is a very, very user-friendly app, but it's also a very empowering education format. So we want to set you up for success and work ourselves out of a job with this program.
Thanks again so much, Christmas, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
All right, folks, and that's a wrap on Dog Life Radio episode 29. Hope you loved that one. That was a lot of fun to talk with Christmas. And just so you know, a little sneak peek into the future. We have got some fantastic international guests coming up all the way from the UK. I think we're double dipping over in London with Ross Atkins from Fight City Gym. And then I believe we got somebody else, a professional strongman over in the UK as well. So enjoy. Keep on listening. Spread the good word. Follow me on Instagram. Love it. Peace.